Hi there, I am Apostle Shiri Dennis, and I'm excited to be coming to you live from the Lyrical Moment Worship Mentorship Ministry. I am here to just share with you something that the Lord just placed in my heart today, and that has got to do with about two subjects or two most important things that do not only differentiate worship in the Old Testament and worship in the New Testament, but rather help us understand worship in the Old Testament and also worship in the New Testament, and how these two things still are very much important and vital in our lives. You do not want to miss out on this one. Now let's get straight to the point. Right from the very first man in the Bible, called Noah, not the first man of course, I'm talking about the first man who actually lit or built an altar of worship to God. Who was this man? His name is Noah. Now Noah offers a sacrifice of worship to God with a burnt offering that actually got from some of the things that he had in the ark, and offered God a good, beautiful aroma. You know, I don't want to go much into details with that, but we see Noah offering a sacrifice to God. So before we continue, I want to bring to your attention that the worship in the Old Testament was mainly characterized with the word sacrifice, which means if you wanted to worship, you had to offer a sacrifice to God. Okay, and most times it involved different kind of things like animals, the best from the cattle, the best from the sheep, the best from anything, you know, that God had blessed people with. That is how worship mostly in the Old Testament was. Right from the time of Noah, who was actually the very first person to offer God a sacrifice of worship, right to our father Abraham, who also offered a sacrifice, not only of animals and different things, but also a sacrifice of his only son. Okay, the son was not of course taken, but God accepted the heart of Abraham to as a one who had accepted to offer him a sacrifice of his only son. Now throughout the other books in the Old Testament, we see that Israelites were full of giving and offering sacrifice to God based on how God blessed them. When we cross, however, to the New Testament, when Jesus arrives in the New Testament, the offer or the aspect of worship begins to change.